EIPIP meeting number 115. This is issue number 1402 on Ethereum PM repo. For people joining new here, we have moved agenda to EIPIP meeting on Ethereum/PM repo. So you can always follow it there. On agenda, we have some open issues and pull requests to be discussed among the editors, some proposals which are in final status, but we have received PRs to edit or update those EIPs. And there would be some call for input. I have added a new proposal for discussion today that will be followed by EIPS Insight. That was requested by EIPS Insight team. So starting with the first item on agenda, I see there is an update requested to EIP 196. The issue number is 8741. I wonder if any editor has any thoughts or comments on that.
I still have no idea if this is correct or not.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, what is the next best action for the author of this PR? Like, what can he do to get this thing? And do we need approval from authors of EIP 196?
That would be nice, but who are the authors on this one?
And I'm wondering why EIP.
Yeah, okay. I think I have seen this and I approved it because as such it is correct because the coordinates are referred as x dash y dash in the second line. And then basically so in the same line, when they're talking about the same coordinates, they start using xy. So I think the PR is correct.
Okay. I'm not sure if I find any comment by Gajendra, but if you would like, Gajendra, maybe you can add your comment and try to merge this if you find this good one. Because GitHub bot has already added it as a stale. So if we do not respond to it for a few more days, it might get stale.
Okay, yeah, I'll poke somebody else just so we have two people reviewing it, and yeah, we'll merge it.
Very well. With that, we can move forward. And the next PR for.
Oh, this is just spam.
It's a spam. Okay, very well.
Yeah.
9539, the number is. Yeah, I thought so. It's an issue, yeah. So we can perhaps close it.
Yep, it's gone.
Good. There are a bunch of open PRs for edits to final proposals. The first one listed here is PR number 9625, which is for EIP 3607. And it seems like it is authored by Dan Krad. So I'm assuming that maybe the right input, but I'm not sure if this is for a final proposal.
Yeah, this is fine. It's just fixing a typo. Yeah.
Cool. It might require one more editor's review or approval, or would it be merged?
I'm just going to force it.
Okay, perfect.
Historical boundary definitions. So you approved
I think I already approved this historical boundary definitions.
Yeah, but it's not getting merged.
Yeah, it needs two.
Okay.
So that should get merged. And then the third one is another typo. Yeah, missing I, so that looks fine.
And Danny is, I don't know if it is okay to ping him for this small typo.
I'm gonna get so many annoying emails today. Because every time you merge a PR, everybody else's repository who's a fork of the EIP's repository emails you, and it's infuriating.
The next one is PR number 9477. And it's already been approved, might require force merge.
Yeah, I guess Tim renamed that repository and broke a bunch of stuff. 9614. Yep, that's fine. 638.
So there is a special request for 9596. I think it's by the author that please do not merge it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
he mentions that he has already fixed it, so there's no point merging it. The last one here is PR 970. And it is for an ERC.
There's a lot of typos in this one. Okay, yeah, this is all good.
So I think with that, we are on PR number 9639. And that is an edit to a stagnant proposal. It's not active.
Yeah, that looks fine to me.
Very well. With that, we can move on to the next section, which is call for input. It seems like we have only one open call for input and one already closed. The closed one is the closed one is issue number 376. It has been rejected, but the comment suggests that it can be revisited in future and people can always request to reopen if there are more new facts in light. For issue 381, Sam, if you would like to again maybe summarize, and it's beyond its deadline. So what do we do now?
Yeah, I'm just cleaning up my tabs here. Okay, so 381 is the changing reference implementation. If I remember correctly, it's something to do with checking a signature. No, it's a proxy call. Okay. Anyways, it's changing a reference implementation in 6472. We have two editors opposed, and we've rejected things like this in the past. So I will close this.
Cool. So with that, we have all call for input issues closed. We don't have any new one as on date. So that's a good thing. Okay. Moving on to item number 2, some other discussions and updates. I would like to provide some context here. I would like to propose a proposal. And the context here is there has been recent discussion in all core dev meeting about reconfiguring all core devs. They had they had discussed certain ideas, and it was discussed in a Fellowship of Ethereum Magician post authored by Timbeko. So I have added a comment over there if we want to like I'm not sure, is everyone able to see my screen right now? And that is with an optional preamble header stage.
Okay. Where was that? That was on Ethereum Magicians?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I have added the link here on Ethereum Magician, reconfiguring all core devs. So there, I have proposed an idea of including preamble header called stage. The reason why I'm suggesting this, that it will help all EIPs to be kept track of, independent of going into each of the meta EIP when it was considered in the past. So EIP 7723, which is network upgrade inclusion stage, talks about different stages that any core EIP will go through in the process of planning network upgrade. And these stages are proposed for inclusion, consider for inclusion, scheduled for inclusion, declined for inclusion, and included finally. So the proposal here is to add a preamble field to EIP template, and that preamble field will be called as stage. So the input that we could provide to this stage would be like the upgrade name and meta EIP link along with the network upgrade stage. For example, if an EIP was considered for Pectra upgrade, but within the community it was not accepted for whatever reason, like it is not ready or it may not be a good fit for that particular upgrade, and that was declined for inclusion, but now it is being considered for inclusion in Fusaka upgrade. So we will get a history of that EIP's consideration for inclusion, like how it was declined and when it was included, the entire history. So this proposal is just to add a preamble field called header, and I have suggested that the accepted input could be here. I have added the link to this document in the agenda if people would like to take a look and maybe give feedback on that. The idea here is, for example, if there is a proposal, then we can have this field stage where it will be written Fusaka. And in Fusaka, it is CFI, but in Pectra, it was DFI. So DFI is declined for inclusion, and currently it is CFI. That means it is considered for inclusion. And let's say that this proposal is being included in Pectra, then the final update here, when the proposal will move into final stage status, it would be Fusaka included and Pectra DFI. I'm curious what people think here.
So there's kind of a technical barrier. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Before that we talk the technical things, my viewpoint is that it would basically, force people, it would put stress on people not to propose the proposals, because people can see that, okay, DFI, they will start considering as a negative score to the EIP, and while it might not be a negative score. So in that sense, I would not basically like to retain the history as such. Maybe the latest status might be good enough.
I would argue against this. The reason why we wanted to, I proposed to have this status because there are certain proposals, they are good. It's just that it was not being considered and they are being deferred again and again and again. So when this proposal is again resurfaced, say for example 2 upgrades later, then people will understand that this proposal has been waiting for 2 upgrades. It was ready, it is a good proposal, but it was not included for other reasons, like priorities are not there,
Yeah,
and
but Pooja, I mean, whoever is the EIP champion always is very easily able to, say this thing that, we have been doing this and all this. As such, ACD community is very well aware of the proposals that come again and why they have come again or why they were refused earlier. And the champions definitely try to put their best foot forward in that sense that they try to push for it. Uh, I, I mean, I don't think in terms of ACD consideration, this header makes any sense, but I would definitely think I definitely see that that if, for example, if there are many DFIs, then people might start to negatively view such proposal just because because of this particular history that has been building up with it. I think we don't want that. I'm not sure how to best build a history for it and will it really help, but maybe final status, or I think instead of saying DFI, CFI, if we let it just be CFI or PFI, proposed for inclusion, then we don't have a negative marker. So we can accumulate these history updates, but without the negative marker, because if it's associated, if the final status is, if the status such as PFI or CFI is associated with a upgrade, that definitely means that it didn't go to final. But DFI basically is a strong negative indicator in that sense. So I am okay with this history, but without the DFI indicator.
One noticeable point here is like DFI is already there and it is part of hard fork meta. For example, if we are looking at hard fork meta Fusaka, it lists a bunch of DFI, so it will be there, of course. The idea of having the stages would be like in clearly stating, if people would like to mention, like find history, they can easily find it. Yes, Victor, please go ahead.
I kind of felt that Garjinder and Pooja, you both thinks this is valuable. Garjinder, do I understand you correctly that the decline gives us negative sense is what you want to avoid?
Yeah, I think I mean, if I would have been also, I would have been there while it was decline was being introduced. I would not have voted for it. I mean, I might have been there, but I didn't notice it. But yes, so I am not in favor of DFI. Otherwise, I'm okay with the history accumulation.
Yeah, and Pooja, I think you bring up a point where sometimes having a history of DFI actually signals the long effort and attempt and track record for some the advocates of a specific EIP.
Yeah.
Having DFI actually signals that okay, a lot of effort is put in and they have been waiting. Is that a good understanding of your side?
That is correct. And I would like to add a point here that may help Gajinder. Gajinder, the DFI status is still here, which is a part of EIP 7723, which is not finalized. It is still in the last call. So if we do
Yeah,
not.
I would definitely raise a concern about that on that proposal if you
Okay.
don't like decline for inclusion.
Yeah, so if we don't want decline
Yeah,
for
okay.
inclusion, we can perhaps delete it right here. It is not finalized yet.
I
All
I
right, so I'll
wonder
wait over there.
I wonder if based on the understanding between Gojinders and Pooja, whether we can find a solutions that address the concern, both of your concerns at the same time, by changing the name for deferred for inclusion to from decline for inclusion to deferred for inclusion, meaning this is
That's a simple
great.
change. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still DFI. It's still DFI, but it's deferred. And maybe if the ADC, maybe if the ACD meetings won't have a strong version, they can have a rejected for inclusion, meaning like this is not gonna be included at all. We don't consider them at all. But if something is good, because we don't have the priority and capacity to do it, they should be deferred if they're not scheduled and rejected.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Yeah, I see no problem there as well.
So the proposal is first consider changing decline to defer, and if maybe the ACD will say, okay, sometimes we really want to signal, we don't want to do that, then also consider adding a new status which is rejected, and that's a strong word. Don't come back. So yeah, I think we can bring this back to the feedback if that's good to the proposal. Pooja, are you the proposer of this, or did this come from you and Team Baco together, and like who should we give this feedback to suggestion to?
I think we can perhaps make use of this Fellowship of Ethereum Magician page right here, which is for discussing this proposal when it was first proposed. We can make use of this page because this proposal is still not finalized. We should definitely offer the change that is discussed here in this meeting today. And just to give some more context, this decline for inclusion was discussed in one of the meeting, I believe in Bangkok, and it was proposed right after the DEF CON. I'm fine with having it with a deferred. However, I feel like the definition added here definitely indicates about deferred. It doesn't mean that that proposal can never be considered for inclusion.
Yeah. So let me document it down and send it as a reply. So Gajinder suggested decline my signal, have a negative signal. Pooja want to maintain the record to show the continuous effort of authors. So combining that, we suggest maybe consider using a defer. And if defer is not enough, consider also adding a rejection. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, I mean that.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Sam, do you have any thoughts on that?
Not really, not directly anyways. I'm writing up a comment.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that is with respect to EIP 7723, a feedback coming from EIPIP meeting. Having said that, I would like to go back to the proposal here. This was an example, like to keep track of all the stages. So irrespective of what we are calling here is DFI, do people generally agree that it would be a good idea to keep track of stages? So, I mean, like generally stages would be helpful to keep track of an active EIP. For example, an EIP is being considered for Fusaka, then it will also undergo different network stages as explained in EIP 7723. And having that status can be, having that field can be actively maintained while the proposal is not finalized. And once that is finalized, it could be included or it could be DFI. So my question here is like, are people generally okay having the field stages? And then we can definitely discuss upon what should get into the input for that. What are the accepted input for this field stages or a stage, not S?
So my objections to having a field are kind of the same as they've always been. There's a permissions issue with having a like network upgrade stage preamble header, and so there are two people who can be or two groups of people that can be responsible for that header. So either you have the authors of a proposal being responsible for that header, or you can have the editors being responsible for that header. If the authors are responsible for it, meaning they can change it without having to get PR approval. They can set it to whatever they want. They can say like, oh, it's scheduled for inclusion in Prague, even though, nobody's just wants it in Prague. That's a problem because it can be misleading, confuse people, whatever. On the other hand, if editors are responsible for approving changes to that header, now the editors are in a position to determine what the sentiment of all core devs is. And that's kind of a subjective thing. And I don't want us to be in that position, which is why we have these meta EIPs for hard forks, because they don't have this permissions issue. Anybody can propose a meta proposal for a hard fork, including and ignoring whatever proposals they want. And core developers can follow and ignore whatever meta proposal they want. So like, some random person could propose, I don't know, a Toronto upgrade, and everybody would ignore it because Tim didn't make the proposal. But EIP editors aren't in a weird position where we have to determine whether Toronto would be a valid hard fork. But what we could do is add some UI work to display the status of proposals on their pages. I just don't want there to be a header field for determining that.
I would like to quickly respond to this. I take the concern here is responsibilities and permission. If this is to be added as a field, I would believe that the responsibility will lie on author, and the verification can be done. This link that we are trying to add right here directly takes us to the meta EIP of that proposal. So if an author is suggesting that this EIP is being considered for inclusion for Fusaka, then this backlink should take us to the meta EIP of that Fusaka. So that
Yes.
we can always verify. And when we go to meta link of Fusaka, it talks about whether this proposal is included, whether it is CFI'd or not. So we do have a way of verification, and we do have a way of adding this responsibility on author. Based on the meta EIP, you have to update your header field, just like we give this responsibility of adding the last call for a proposal. Like when you are adding a last call, it is up to you that you count plus 14 days and make the right entry. So you have to make the right entry over there. At the max, editor's responsibility, if it comes there, then maybe if they are not happy, they may cross verify it. And this thing like this meta EIP for any upgrade is being updated every week by whoever is championing the proposal. So if it is not Tim Beko who is the author of this proposal, his responsibility is to keep it updating and make sure that all EIPs listed here are up to date. We do have an option of update.
Pooja, I don't get this one every week. What someone has to do what?
It's for meta EIP author, like for including the decision from all core dev. So for example, in all core dev.
No, but even if so, for example, Tim Beko will have to do some action on the meta EIP every week.
Yes,
or
if
these
there is.
EIPs.
Yes, if there is a change from the existing list that is discussed on the all core dev meeting. So now the all
Okay, so
core
only
dev
if there is
meeting.
a change, he's not
Yes,
really
yes.
required
No,
to touch
no,
it
no,
every
no.
week, right?
No. So the way it is being reconfigured, the all core dev, is that in ACD meetings, only upgrade related discussion will happen. So most likely the discussion will be around the EIPs and their different stages. So there would be a bunch of EIP proposed for, say, for example, Amsterdam in upcoming meetings. So they will be all part of Amsterdam meta EIP, and they would be all part of proposed for inclusion or considered for inclusion. So the way eventually it will move from one stage to different stage, it will be the responsibility of the author to update this meta EIP to reflect the correct stage of that EIP. And
But again, sorry to interject, Pooja, but as Sam is saying, what we are all doing is basically we are saying that Tim Beko's meta EIP is the canonical one. And Tim Beko will have to So we have all decided whose meta IP is canonical one, and that is something that Sam doesn't want to do. And I think I'm with Sam on this. We are not to decide who's has the canonical meta IP, and if there are many meta EIPs right now, we don't have. But if there are many meta EIPs floating around, and somebody might link it to that, and it will only create confusion because it might happen with they might propose for the same upgrade, and it will have the same thing, and it will take them to a different meta E for sure, but it will definitely bring confusion to the table to the EIP reader.
I mean, personally, I doubt that there could be two meta EIP for one upgrade because that would not be approved and merged as draft in the first place. Like we can.
Yeah, we would.
No,
Definitely.
I think Sam, we would, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, am I muted? I'm probably muted.
Oh, so we are worried that there could be a possibility of having two meta EIP for one upgrade.
Yeah, or just two upgrade EIPs going at the same time, not necessarily for the same like epoch or slot, whatever.
Okay. Maybe I'm just trying to understand it in a better way. So if there are two upgrade going on simultaneously, if they are not supposed to be on the same epoch or slot or maybe at a different point, then the list of EIPs will be different. They wouldn't be same.
Well, okay, so like let's say there's a very contentious EIP, let's say EOF, right? And then you have one camp of people that want a hard fork with EOF, and you have a different camp of people who want a hard fork without EOF, but everything else is the same between the two hard forks. There might be two meta EIPs describing like a similar thing, but they don't necessarily have to be on the same block.
I get it, but I think this is the problem that all core dev is trying to solve here. That if there is a decision, it should not be like we had this situation long ago, but it should not be like that. If there is an agreement, there is a general agreement by all client, and we should have only one meta ape for one upgrade. What was the name of that EIP? I think it was in 2019 when half of the miner agreed that they would be doing that, but Ethereum client devs decided not to go ahead with that. Anyway, okay, cool. So I hear that there are some concerns and people are not ready to have this field. I believe the alternative suggested here is an okay way to maintain it, and I think EIPS Insight is in a way maintaining that EIP is in this particular upgrade. We can also add that as what stage as per that meta EIP that EIP is being included. Is that the summary, or if there is any room for like if we solve any particular problem, we can perhaps have this feedback?
Yeah, in that sense, if, for example, we recognize one set of meta EIPs as canonical, basically, then you don't have to do it on the on per EIP level. This can totally be sorted by the website renderer, and it can inject the fields if it wants to, and sort of create them. In that sense, I would basically. So what I'm saying is that without incurring additional overhead on human resources, I mean, this can be rendered by the code itself. So if we have to do this, then I would just say that our HTML generators will auto-populate these fields.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the main reason why I wanted to have this field was to contain the history of that EIP, when like how many times it was considered and how many times it was deferred and it could not be included. Otherwise,
Yeah, so that can still be done because you would have a list of meta EIPs that the HTML generator will consume and sort of generate these fields.
Yeah, I think it can be doable if we start from here because this EFI, CFI, and DFI history is started from Pectra EIP only. So yes, that can be done. Very well. With all this discussion, it seems like we are in agreement to have a request to update DFI as deferred for inclusion rather than declined for inclusion, and addition of a preamble header is not a requirement that can be managed by UI. Cool. With that, we can perhaps move ahead with the next item unless anyone has anything to add last minute. Very well. The next item is stagnant pod issue. It was discussed in the past 2 meetings. I wonder if there is any update. I see Vivin on the call.
Yeah, sorry about that, but we didn't get much time to work on that. So we'll try to work on that before the next EIPIP meeting. We got other things to do for our website, so we got less time for this contribution.
No worries. We can see if there are any further updates in the next meeting. The next item listed here is an announcement. For people who joined last EIP editing office hour are already aware of it, but for people who missed that, earlier we used to have 2 EIP editing office hour in a month. That was for EIP plus ERC editing. A few months ago, we added one more of EIP only meeting. Now I'm happy to share that we will have EIP editing office hour every week, and in alternate weeks, we will have for EIP only and EIP plus ERC. We are getting support of editor Sam Wilson, Gurjinder Singh, and Matt Gannett to continue this EIP editing office hour and bring it every week to you. So if you have any questions, comment, concerns with respect to your pull request or curious in general to learn about the process, you are welcome to join these meetings. This will happen every Tuesday at 1600 UTC. Moving forward, we have EIPS Insight, monthly EIPS status reporting, as well as some other updates. Those were requested. So yeah, Vivin, take it over.
Yeah, thank you, Pooja. So regarding the updates, we have added this new chart, EIPS label distribution. And what this chart means is that we'll be prioritizing the PRs based on the labels, and we'll be providing a downloadable reports for that. So um, like it gives a priority order in which the PRs labels were created, and based on that they were categorized, and the rest of the labels other than the specified ones are considered as miscellaneous, so that uh, the data will be same and it can be downloaded. And regarding the second update, we have added this new page. uh, like this is not live yet. We are still working on this. This is for keeping track of the hoodie testnet. And like the core idea for this one was keeping track of the transaction trends. The like for looking if there are any type 4 transaction, especially which were included using Pectra network upgrade. We wanted to keep track of that. So we started working on that. And um, this is an overview of that. So like the data currently we have is for the past 24 hours. It can be adjusted and keep track of that. And also other than this, we have also added this new chart where we can keep track of the base fee, priority fees, and gas used and gas burned. It will be providing an overview of the amount of gas burned or used in a particular block. Um, Like as you can see for the hoodie testnet, all of these are fluctuating at an equal rate. Uh, like this, they were fluctuating at a similar rate for all the blocks. And this trend continues for the past 24 hours. Currently, we have it for the past 24 hours, but we'll be adding for around a month. Like we are planning to add it for around 1 month like that, so that you can keep track of that. And other than that, we also provide details like current block information, recent transactions, and recent blocks like that. So, like we also wanted to request for an input from your side if we can, if this makes sense, or what should we add so that we it will be more useful for the Ethereum community like that. We actually wanted to uh, request for an input from your side. If there are any inputs, we'd be happy to take it in.
I mean, this looks super cool. It's neat seeing it sawtooth like that.
Yeah.
I have a question here. Like when you are keeping track of different transaction type, I believe they are coming up from different EIPs. Will there be a way to showcase like which EIP was
Like
used for that particular?
so these types are based on particular EIP numbers, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
type 4 is for 7702. So like this itself directly means that number of transactions in each block that belongs to a particular EIP like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if this would be possible to have a chart to get the trend of all these EIPs in a way like, type 0 to type 4, um, showing like what is the number of transaction included per block. I mean, it is like that, but for some reason, I feel like it will be better if we can see it horizontally and only 4 or 5 lines are there.
Yeah, like a line chart, do you mean?
Yeah, kind of, yes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll try to make an option for both of them, like so that you can switch it and check them.
Yeah. And my recommendation would be like, get in touch with, because this is related with hoodies. So get in touch with Paritoshan team who are actually working on Hoodie Network right now. And if they may have suggestion or if they may want to keep track of any particular type of, data, then you can perhaps provide that kind of dashboard to them.
Yeah, yeah, I'll be doing that. And regarding the next part of the discussion, this is the monthly EIP report, EIP status changes report. So, there are 6 EIPs, 3 ERCs that were moved to draft stage, and 8 EIPs, 1 ERC that were moved to review, and 1 EIP and 1 ERC that were moved to final, and 3 EIPs that were moved to stagnant stage. You can also get the downloaded report over here, and it will be looking like this. We categorized it based on the repo, so it would be more detailed if you want to check it out offline. Yeah, and also we are also rolling out tweet every half month and at the end of the month, so that it would be visible to the community more. So we also shared the Twitter link in case if you want to follow that, you can check it out and follow the APS inside Twitter. Yeah, that's the update from our side.
A quick question. I noticed there was no change in RIP. I mean, was there no change? Just curious, like everything was
Like
zero
I
there.
believe there was no change, but I'll check just in case. I'll check our code base and if there was any error and it stopped functioning. But it shouldn't be a problem actually. Like it should be running without any errors. So I'll be checking and update you with that.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And also, Sam, the bug that you mentioned, that was cleared.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we can perhaps move on to the next one, which is EIP editing office hour. Agenda and video should be there. And yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the meeting. I wonder if anyone has anything to add, question, comment, concern, anything that we can discuss in the next meeting. Yes, Mercy, please go ahead.
Okay, you did mention, I think, last 2 weeks about the reviewers. So I wanted to know if there's any update on it.
Did you mean the dashboard for reviewer?
No, you said something about like a kind of like interview or something for the reviewers at the end.
I'm just trying to understand, is it like how a reviewer can become an editor?
No, you mentioned about finally moving the review some of the reviewers to
Editors.
yes.
Yeah, so how we can move a reviewer to an editor? Yeah, so the basic idea is like we would like to follow the reviewers' work for next 6 months since they have started making contribution. Good thing that we have the dashboard. Dashboard will help us keep track of their ongoing activities, and at the end of 6 months, if they are interested, they can definitely propose themselves to become an editor. And there is a process like they may have to update certain files to get necessary permissions, and that's a high level process of getting converted from reviewer to an editor. And obviously it will require consent of all the present editors. They should approve.
Yeah, I guess the only
Okay.
other thing is to probably start leaving comments on calls for input if you haven't already been doing that. But there haven't been many of them, so.
Sorry, I didn't really understand that, Sam. Can you come again?
Oh, sure. So there are the calls for input on the EIP repository. If you would like to become an editor in the future, it would probably be a good idea to leave your opinions on those topics as they come up. But there haven't been a lot of them recently.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that would be a good idea in addition to your continued contribution, which is anyway being tracked separately. Any other question that can be answered today? Very well. In that case, thank you everyone for joining us here today. We look
Oh,
forward.
hang on. I would like to mention that the new version of the EIPS website is pretty much ready to go, and I'm looking for people to test it out. Yeah, it's there's a comment in the Discord about it, but I'll post another link to it here. But yeah, basically, I'm just looking for objections or feedback about whether or not we want to switch to this. So there's a link in the chat, and take a look.
I'm gonna add the link in the comment section of today's agenda so more people can take a look at it. Would it be okay to include this as like decision making point or agenda item for the next meeting? Like we can decide on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, I can make a call for input for it if we think we're ready.
Sure. Thank you, Sam, for this. It was long due. I look forward to have this switched, but obviously we need to make sure that everything is in right place. Cool. Thank you so much for this. Anyone has any other thing to be added? Either any suggestion for the next meeting that we can add as an agenda item? Very well. Thank you everyone for joining us here today. See you all in next meeting, which would be scheduled for May 21st at 1400 UTC. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.